The mobile app, in collaboration with the National Theatre, presents a play titled Red Light.
Yes. The driver crossed the red light and hit her. Is that where we can get a bed for her?
There's no bed, though.
Doc,
emergency.
Yes.
Emergency.
Emergency.
Yeah.
She was knocked down by a car.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so is it a hit and run or a run and hit?
Justin. Why? Justin. Auntie. Jemu Nebeshi. Why?
Date 16th November 2019 at the National Theatre. Time 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. Tickets cost 60 cedis single, 100 cedis double. Ticket outlets: Airport Shell, Batuna Total, Frankie's Osu, or call 0268 112 005. Main sponsors: Fidelity Mobile App, Loyalty Insurance, Sunny Gold Gary Mix, and Magic Cooker.
A to Z Auto Servicing Limited.
Other sponsors:
Niebeshi enya kwenshia enya kwenshia se abayo yi antumi enyini na wa wi suku entumi kam no de mra na hyehyɛ so we eyemfom so America tenten edeba enyina so binti ena ye kwansini aduasa.
I am tired of this product that don't work and don't kill mosquitoes. I need the best mosquito spray with power that kills all mosquitoes.
Kill it, mosquitoes and insects. Kill it, kill it, kill it, mosquitoes and insects. Kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it. Kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it. Kill it.
This is Idol S15. The amazing forward. You don't believe me? Check this out. Get your S15 now. You are the best selfies in me.
Breakfast good day, every day.
Nestle, good food, good life.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Well, I have my news up here at Disawa in Kanda. This is News 360. My name is Alfred Okansi.
And I am Nanekia Mensah Brapa. Coming up in the headlines tonight.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by Deluxipade,
Heaven Insecticide Spray and Coil,
Piccadilly Biscuits,
and
My Life Insurance.
No new taxes in 2020 fiscal year.
Two high-profile court cases in Sekondi Takoradi in limbo following strike by Judicial Service Staff Association of Ghana, JUSAG.
Also, smuggling of goods rife despite Nigeria-Benin border closure.
Inflation up to 7.7% in October from historic 7.6% low recorded in September. That's more in Business Tonight.
And later on the foreign front, historic public impeachment hearings targeting U.S. President Donald Trump opens. Right, and talking about the order of the day for today, that was the big issue, the 2020 budget presentation on the floor of Parliament. And government will not introduce new taxes in the 2020 fiscal year. Presenting the 2020 budget to Parliament, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta said government would restructure the tax system by developing a comprehensive revenue policy and strategy to address the challenges of revenue mobilization.
Mr. Speaker, as you can see, we have not imposed any new taxes.
He said government would give the necessary support to the Ghana Revenue Authority to boost revenue collection to enable it meet its targets.
The focus will be on efficiency and base broadening rather than imposing new taxes on our people and businesses.
But the Communications Minister, Ursula Owusu, in her reaction, wants government to consider taxing mobile money profits made by the telecommunication companies to shore up national revenue.
What I have been advocating, and I'll continue to advocate for it, is that the revenue that the companies earn from the transaction fees that you and I pay, they're earning upwards in the region of about 80 million cedis every month, and they are paying nothing. Any company that operates and earns revenue in this country is required by law to pay taxes on it. So I'm urging GRA to sit down with them and work out some arrangement by which government can also derive its fair share.
Still stay with the budget, 2020 budget a bit further. Now, accessing credit by small and medium-scale enterprises is expected to be easier following the introduction of 3 credit provision avenues by government. The Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, made this known while presenting the 2020 budget statement and economic policy.
Access to finance and the high cost of credit continue to impact negatively on the operations of small and medium enterprises, SMEs. The situation has been attributed largely to inadequately resourced institutions as well as some macroeconomic policies which discourage granting of credit to SMEs due to its high risk. The Association of Ghana Industries, for instance, has revealed that almost all proposals by its members to secure funding from the Export Trade, Agricultural and Industrial Development Fund were denied in 2015. The Venture Capital Fund, among others, which was established to provide funding for SMEs, has not also lived up to expectation since its institution over a decade ago due to its over-reliance on budgetary support from government. According to the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, such challenges will be addressed through the introduction of the Enterprise Credit Scheme, the National Development Bank, and the Mobile Quick Loan Scheme.
The key institutions to anchor this shift will be the National Development Bank, the Enterprise Credit Scheme, and the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund. The private sector in Ghana continues to borrow at over 25%, while their competitors elsewhere are borrowing at least 5%. One way to support them is to ensure a reasonable level of lending rates. Mr. Speaker, government is therefore working together with the banking community to launch a 2 billion credit and guarantee scheme in 2020.
Economist Edu Owusu-Sarkodie says the availability of such initiatives become worthwhile when the tax burden on SMEs are reduced.
If the lending rate is at as high as 28%, when your colleagues, other countries are doing single digit, I want us to get to the single digit interest rate so that businesses can borrow at a lower cost, expand their businesses, employ people, because government alone cannot employ Ghanaians. So everything necessary to boost private sector development, private sector participation in the growth process where more jobs could be created.
For others, government should ensure vigilance to prevent the system from collapsing like others introduced earlier.
From time to time, the GRA must try as much as possible, to organize, workshops for the SMEs, trying to educate them about how it is incumbent on them, to pay taxes so that government can get in the much needed revenue to do its developmental work.
All three schemes will be operational in the first quarter of 2020, with the National Development Bank commencing operation with a seed capital of 250 million cedis and the Enterprise Credit Scheme with 2 billion cedis.
Right, so we're still picking some reactions post-budget presentation, and a corporate governance specialist, Dr. Richmond Etuahene, has lauded government's intention to set up a development bank, describing the move as critical in the country's transformation. Right, so we'll be bringing you that story subsequently, but let's still pick some more reactions from Parliament, this time around from the minority, where the former Deputy Finance Minister, Kaisel Ato-Forson, has rubbished claims by Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta that the previous NDC administration looked on and did nothing about the banking sector crisis. Now, speaking in Parliament after the budget presentation, Mr. Forson said the Finance Minister failed to acknowledge the efforts of his predecessors while being heavy-handed on local financial companies.
Government says the cleanup of the entire financial sector will cost the nation's taxpayer some estimated 30 billion cedis. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta at the presentation of the 2020 budget statement and economic policy in Parliament today said an amount of 13 billion cedis has so far been spent on the banking sector cleanup alone. The minister said figures so far suggest a more robust and resilient banking sector after the revocation of licenses of some insolvent banks and a recapitalization of the industry. Mr. Ofori-Atta blamed the erstwhile NDC administration of failing to deal decisively with the challenges that confronted the banking sector. But former Deputy Finance Minister Kaisel Ato-Forson said the Finance Minister was wrong.
This is a Finance Minister that often comes to this Honourable House, present a budget statement in the form of telling story and peddling propaganda and falsehood. It is wrong for a minister responsible for finance to come to this August House and ignore what his predecessors did. The very law that they are using to close down people's investment, take down people's assets, rendering people unemployment, were laws that we initiated. What they did was, instead of them applying that law in a positive manner, they are using the law in a negative way to destroy lives and livelihood.
Mr. Forson also criticized government's handling of the financial sector crisis.
If I have 30 billion Ghana cedis, I could as well bail out some of this bank, re-inject governance, save jobs, and get business.
But that's not fair. Some of the banks were bailed out.
They were doing well. How many of them were bailed out?
UMB.
How many of them? Have they got the money? They have not gotten it. So it doesn't work. And even that, the question of some of the banks being bailed out, what was the processes of selecting? They selected those that are close to the administration and killed those that they think are perceived that they do not belong to them. What is happening is that some of these business owners that have deposit and investment in these banks, you claim that you have given money to. Where is the money? Some of them, they do not have access to this money.
The financial sector cleanup includes a revocation of licenses of 9 universal banks, 347 microfinance companies, of which 155 had already ceased operations, 39 microcredit companies and money lenders, 10 of which had already ceased operations, 15 savings and loans companies, 8 finance houses, and 2 non-bank financial institutions that had already ceased operations were revoked.
The Securities and Exchange Commission last week also revoked the licenses of some 53 asset management companies.
So two major unions have asked Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta to explain how to pay off those laid off from the banking sector cleanup. Now, the General Secretaries of the Ghana Mine Workers Union and the Industrial and Commercial Workers Union were reacting to budget statement here in Accra.
The General Secretary of the Ghana Mine Workers Union, Prince William Ankra, ICU General Secretary Solomon Kote expected the Finance Minister to explain how to deal with the job losses following the financial sector cleanup.
The issues of job loss were virtually mitigated to a large extent. I mean, in as much as I would have wished that they are sign on almost everybody who lost the job, it's really not possible to a large extent. Yeah, I'm sure next time around maybe we can really do it better. But for me, the bravery to do what has been done for me is great.
It's not only one-sided that because you are a client and you have credit. How about those who have borrowed from these institutions and they haven't paid? What strategy is there for us to know that those monies are going for? Because this money is talking about is your money, my money. It's the taxpayers' money they are using. So what does it mean that those who have gone to borrow there and nobody can chase them, they've gone away free with it? We need more answers, and I believe in the coming weeks these things will come up.
The Mine Workers Secretary, Prince William Ankra, wants corporates to be prosecuted immediately.
Had their resources from savings from pensioners, others who are struggling to make sure they could save for better times, suddenly have gone to a ditch. I mean, and you need government to get into all those payments, and I'm sure that to a large extent, if you look at the fact that it's been calm, it's a clear signal that the government had done its bits.
They raised issues with regard to the poor state of roads across the country and wondered why they hold up to the first quarter of next year to get rehabilitated.
Kumasi Obuasi is another disaster. Obuasi Dunkwa is another disaster. Dunkwa Anyamfre is another disaster. And these are mining townships. Excuse me, let's face it. There's no way in the world that, environment or township that produces bulk of the nation's wealth in terms of hard cash should have that major deficit.
You recall that when this is staying at midnight, roads were being commissioned, roads were being, constructed with floodlights day and night. Okay, so this one, ICU was wishing to see a particular roadmap. Which areas are going to receive this attention? Is it going to go, in a very uniform manner, or is it going to go in a particular skewed interest where election period is and where one's interest actually is?
The ICU said government should indicate where factories built under one district, one factory are located.
If indeed it's been done, when we get to the detail of this budget, okay, then we'll be able to identify, locate, and then possibly take visits and go there and go and see for ourselves that yes, these factories have been completed.
Right, so still on the banking sector reforms, the Finance Minister was categorical that the financial sector cleanup cost us some 16.4 billion and that no firm intentionally collapsed. That was what he said on the floor. But again, the director at the Institute for Statistical, Social and Economic Research, Professor Peter Korte, says although some achievements were made by government, some of its fiscal policies have been unproductive.
Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta touted the achievements of the Akufo-Addo-led government 3 years in office, asserting that it has been able to deliver on its flagship programs. Assessing the 2019 fiscal year, the minister described the year as a very good one for Ghana. But Professor of Economics at the Institute for Statistical, Social and Economic Research, Professor Peter Korte, noted the reduction of the benchmark values and the increase in tax exemptions in 2019 have proven to be counterproductive.
The 2018-2019 fiscal space has not been as good as one would have expected. I must say that if you look at the deficit, it's still within 5%, so that is acceptable. But a look at the revenue numbers shows that we are having a revenue shortfall. As of June, we have a shortfall of about 5 billion cedis.
Yes.
In terms of expenditure, I mean, if your revenue, you don't meet your revenue targets, certainly you have to cut your quota according to your size, as one may put it. So expenditures were also cut, and unfortunately, it is capital expenditure that suffers.
True.
If you look at the numbers again, you see 44% variation or deviation from capital expenditure target, and that is very significant.
The fiscal deficit declined from 6.5% of GDP in 2016 to 4.5% at the end of the third quarter of 2019. So really, there was the revenue target of 58 billion cedis for the 2019 fiscal year. According to the finance minister, the 2020 budget, the revenue target for 2020 is 67.1 billion cedis. So we'll see how it goes, because a lot of economists already raised.
Well, and some are saying that it will, exactly. They've raised doubts to that.
We'll see how it pans out. The government is very confident that particular revenue target can be achieved, and they're going to put measures in place to make sure that that comes about. But there was the usual drama in Parliament, which characterizes budget presentations. While the minority touted it is a, quote, bye-bye budget, the majority hailed it, saying it fulfilled government promises. Mercy Darling Local.
Wednesday morning, members of Parliament were in the House in anticipation of the 2020 budget and financial policy presentation. Also present in the House was the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. Parliamentary proceedings started at 10:40 a.m. The Minority Leader Haruna Iddrisu expressed misgivings over the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, having been seated before the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, arrived.
Our objection is that while the Vice President, the second most respected person of our republic, is in this House, the Minister for Finance should have been here earlier. And as Mr. Speaker, the Minister for Finance knows.
The Finance Minister was dressed in his usual white kaftan, clutching the familiar briefcase. At 11:20, he entered the delivery box. Some members of the minority wondered if the sector minister would, as usual, commence with his scripture quotation. During the presentation, some eyes in the public gallery were heavy. Yatia Bre, literally meaning we are tired of hearing about it, is how the minority responded to the gains made in the education sector, especially with the free SHS policy.
The free senior high school education for all Ghanaians.
There was disagreement and laughter when the finance minister said members were aging.
Mr. Speaker, we are all growing old.
It took him 2 hours to finish with his presentation, after which members from the minority displayed printed messages to describe the budget. While the minority called it a bye-bye budget, election year budget, the majority described the financial policy as Nkosua and Nkabom, to wit, progress and unity. Some members also sang, while the speaker called to them to order.
And you would want to stay with us exactly at 10 p.m. The stance is on talking big about the budget and other matters arising from some of our journalists in-house. So stay with us right here on TV3. Let's move away now from the Asumdwe budget, or Nkosua and Nkabom budget, and two high-profile court cases in Sekondi Takoradi could not be heard following the strike by the Judicial Service Staff Association of Ghana, JUSAG. Our Western Regional Correspondent Monica Odonko has come through with this report.
I'm at Adiambra, where we have cluster of courts. We have the Commercial Court A and B, High Court 1, 2, and 3, as well as the Gender Court. Out of the JUSAC strike, all the doors are shut, and you could see the place is virtually empty. Today was to be the day that the prime suspect in the Takoradi girls kidnap issue should appear in court. The prison officers brought him, but he has been taken back. The state attorney in charge of this Takoradi girls kidnap case is right here with us. We'll therefore draw closer to know when the adjourning date will be.
We would be checking to find out when the judicial service would resume from the strike action. When they resume, another court date will be given. We would communicate it to the appropriate authorities and come back to court and continue with that matter.
A secondary high court had also scheduled Wednesday, 13th November, for judgment on 35-year-old Richmond Ahu, who is one of the 3 people accused of butchering 2 students of the St. Mary's Boys Senior High School in the Western Region during a robbery. I am Monica Dede Odonko reporting for TV3 News, Takoradi.
Well, the Supreme Court has dismissed an application filed by the Special Prosecutor Martin Amido, which sought to enforce the Attorney General to retrieve judgment debt owed Waterville Holdings. The Apex Court, in its ruling, described the application as incompetent and had no basis or any rule of law. Godfrey Tanam reports.
Martin Amido, as a private citizen, dragged the Attorney General to the Apex Court, arguing that the state had failed to carry out the court's order to retrieve the judgment debt paid illegally to the construction company Waterville Holdings. During the last sitting, the court ordered the 2 parties to cooperate so that the state could retrieve the €47 million wrongfully paid to Waterville Holdings. This order was made after Martin Amido told the court he had documents which could assist the state to retrieve the money. Martin Amido, appearing in court on Wednesday, submitted some documents to the court, indicating they were the documents to assist the Attorney General carry out his mandate by retrieving the money. Deputy Attorney General Godfrey Yeboah-Dame, who represented the state, told the court to dismiss the earlier application by Martin Amido, which sought to compel the AG to go after the money. According to him, the application was incompetent and had no merit. A clash between Deputy AG and Martin Amido ensued when Godfrey Yeboah-Dame told the court there was no evidence that the AG refused to cooperate with Martin Amido to carry out the order by the court to retrieve the money from the defaulter. Godfrey Dame insisted it was Martin Amido who was not cooperating with the Attorney General and leaking information to the media. This did not go down well with the Special Prosecutor, who said the Deputy Attorney General was disrespecting him and calling him a liar. The court in its ruling insisted the order to retrieve the money has already been given 4 years ago and it will be improper for the same court to give another order. It therefore dismissed the application, describing it as incompetent and having no basis in any rule of law.
As far as I'm concerned, once it's on the record that it should enforce the judgment, we have achieved what we want.
Well, it's live here on News 360. Remember, there's a lot more on the budget and also the Nigeria-Benin border. Exclusive detail of what's happening there. My colleague Kamla Kluche spent over a week there observing the situation. So stay with us. We're back shortly after this.
Right.
I see to the day-to-day well-being of the students. And I must say that for 2 solid years, Our buildings look new.
Bobo Girls Presbyterian Senior High School is still shining. Rain or shine, our buildings still shine.
Anio, the luxury acrylic paint with the true down one. And when it brighter. The yin can say it lasts longer. That's all.
Indeed, the luxury acrylic paint is champion.
Girls don't play football. Those are for girls.
You can't do engineering, do arts.
You can't work. You should be a housewife. Yes, she can. She can. She can.
Softcare gives you the best protection so you can do it all. Softcare's advanced comfort fit design naturally molds itself to your form, while its leak guard prevents your time of the month from getting in your way.
Soft, not weak.
Softcare. Yes, she can.
Piccadilly Choco Cookies, made with the finest Ghanaian cocoa. Now introducing Piccadilly Butter Cookies, the new addition to the Piccadilly family. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
At FBN Bank, we see you. You wake up every morning and put in your best, planning for a better life. We know you. Investment and returns mean a lot to you. We think you need a partner who has transformed dreams, supported ideas, and set the path for technological advancement. Someone with over 125 years of putting you first. For First Bank of Nigeria comes our subsidiaries in Sub-Saharan Africa, DRC, Gambia, Ghana, Guinea, Senegal, Sierra Leone, and beyond. You can bank on our experience because at FBN Bank, we put you first.
Guys, let's get ready to go. You people, you know grandma and her British time. I'll leave you all. I'll leave you. Honey!
Connect your home and business to amazing content no matter where you are with the MTN TurboNet router and stay connected to the things that matter most only on Ghana's fastest network. We day for you everywhere you go.
The same Baltic you've known for 20 years is changing with you. We're putting a twist on the new 500 ml bottle. Friendly for the environment with 7% less plastic. Enjoy Twist Recycle. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
This big Itel S15, the amazing phone. You don't believe me? Check this out. Get your S15 now. Enjoy the best selfies with me. How you doing?
I'm just chilling.
So cool, so good. Try Cocoa Pine, the newest flavor from Fan Yogo, the coolest snack under the sun. Fan Milk.
The business news segment is brought to you by MTN 4G Plus, Universal Merchant Bank,
Roma insecticide spray and coil.
Thanks so much for staying with us on News 360. Let's look at the business updates for tonight. And inflation shot up to 7.7% in October from a historic 7.6% low recorded in September. However, the October rate is within the Finance Ministry's medium-term target band of 8 plus or minus 2.
The consumer price was 7.6% compared to September last year's 9.8%. Prices fell 0.2% between August and September. Inflation was 9.5% in October 2018, fell to 9.2% in February 2019. Price growth then shot up to 9.5% in April. It resumed the downward trend from June with 9.1% to 7.6% in September 2019. Government statistician Professor Samuel Kobna Enim attributed the drivers of the marginal rise in the year-on-year inflation to food and non-alcoholic beverages and transport.
Food inflation continued to contribute about 2/5 of the total inflation that we are recording for Ghana. One component that consistently over the last 3 months has increased in its contribution to inflation is transport. And consistently we see 13% drop slightly to 11%, and now transport is contributing 17.1%.
Inflation for locally produced items was 6.5%, while inflation for imported items was 8.9%. 3 regions, Greater Accra with 11.8%, Central 9.2%, and Volta 8.9% were above the national average of 7.7%. Upper East region had the lowest year-on-year inflation rate of 3.6%.
What we want to interrogate further from an analytical perspective is that about 12 times difference between Upper West region, which is 1.0 on food, and Greater Accra, which is 12.5 for food. For non-food items, although we see heterogeneities across the regions, the variations are relatively mild compared to what we see in the case of food. And this is where we think policy should continue to pay attention.
CPI measures changes in the prices of a fixed basket of goods and services purchased by households.
All right, so let's go back to that earlier story on government intention to set up a development bank. Well, a corporate governance specialist, Dr. Richmond Etuahene, has lauded this intention, describing the move as critical in the country's transformation.
Presenting the 2020 fiscal year statement to Parliament, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta noted a $250 million facility has been secured for the establishment of the bank. The bank will have the capacity of mobilizing private capital towards agriculture and industrial transformation. A banking consultant, Dr. Richmond Etuahene, is confident a development bank will help accelerate the country's economic growth.
The Development Bank is the only thing that will help this country to grow. Let me repeat. It is not the universal banks. It is only development banks that will help this economy. So Ghana needs a development bank, not universal banks. The universal bank, let them trade in the short term, and let us think about how we develop this economy.
Let's look at one of our headline stories. And Beninois national security officials have accused Nigerian security of aiding the smuggling of banned goods into Nigeria through unapproved routes. Komla Kluche reports there is evidence of smuggling despite the border closure.
Nigeria, undoubtedly one of Africa's superpowers, closed all its land borders on August 21 to tackle smuggling in an unprecedented move which is affecting trade across the sub-region.
My brothers, we drivers, we are suffering too much. We get family. Since August, we are here. We don't get anything to eat. If trailer no move, we cannot get food to chop. Nobody to give us.
David, a truck driver from Togo, is one of the many affected by the border closure.
We no carry smuggling. If they want, make it and come. We are going to open all our load, then go check it. Any load will be smuggling, they are going to catch it. Make it allow us work. If we begin the thief now, how they are going to do?
The bustling border activities have come to a standstill, with goods rotten as queues of heavily loaded trucks are stuck at checkpoint, as truck drivers hope Nigerian authorities will reverse their directive. The border closure has been extended to end of January 2020, and Nigeria's neighbors are angry.
The suffer the person they suffer now don't too much. It don't the person they suffer too much, not be small. Because anybody now, if the person now they work before, if they do alabaro now before one shop. If you don't do alabaro now, no fish shop. If you want to carry something now, everything now person want carry tomato go Nigeria. If you don't go Nigeria, no fish sell tomato. Tomato pepper the only person they carry shop for here. If you don't carry and go Nigeria, no fish sell.
No, it's not good thing now. It's not good thing because since when they don't close this border now, it's not easy for us. Everybody they suffer. Okada now, no fee ride Okada. They carry basia. People when be say we get trailer now, you know see work. Oga will get trailer, you don't pack. Almost at the end of them they do alabaro.
Despite the measures, some goods, including rice, are still smuggled into Nigeria from Benin, allegedly through the aids of some Nigerian security authorities.
Policemen, Nigeria custom, all of them, they come with their car. They buy rice, tomatoes, all goods where Nigeria ban. They are coming and buy.
So, for instance, I mean, this is one of the, you can see this is rice over here, rice that is going to be used through the bushes into the other side of the border. That's the Nigerian side. This is one of the concerns that he has raised. We just bumped into this one and it's heading into the bushes using the beets, and the rice will end up in Nigeria. The ban has happened, however, there's still smuggling of it, evidently, from the video.
An allegation the Nigerian authorities will not respond to when I inquired from the acting controller of the Nigerian immigration at the Seme border.
What I've told you, Senator, you should have asked for the PRO.
Okay.
No, it's free.
The biggest contraband route was between Cotonou, Benin's biggest city, and Nigeria's commercial hub of Lagos, a few hours drive apart, and it was obvious at the Semekraki border that smuggling was still rife.
It's something that they have survived, they have lived on, and it's going to be for a very long time. Komla Kluchev, TV3 News, Semekraki border, Benin.
Well, quite interesting where the border has been closed, but there's still smuggling. This is just one of the many interesting and exclusive reports from my colleague Komla Kluche over the past 5 days. You can follow us on 3news.com for more of his reports. I'm sure he'll still be bringing you more updates in subsequent bulletins. But that's it for the business segment. We have sports next with the man, Kawawa. Stay with us.
If I don't see this wedding with my own eyeballs, dear, it's not me. I just go into the church. Okay, let me connect my earpiece.
Now you may. Remember.
Stop meats by their sharing here. For salam. Buffet, papa.
Enjoy even more value with MTN Free after one.
You only pay for the first minute of your call on MTN Free After One, and the rest is free. Plus, you enjoy free 50 megabytes worth of data to browse your favorite sites. Umpe where? Umpe deng. Dial *315# to sign up now.
We dare for you everywhere you go.
UMB was established in 1972 as the premier bank for the corporate and private sector in Ghana. From our very beginning, as the only Ghanaian bank serving all categories of businesses, we set a standard for excellence and innovation over the past 45 years. We've built a financially healthy and strong bank, demonstrated our commitment to our customers and to growing businesses, and exhibited originality and innovation at every turn. At UMB, our focus is built around people, service, products and technology. These are the key to our present success and our future triumphs. At UMB, we're poised to make a difference not only with our customers, but also in the banking industry. We invite you to share in our future. Our future starts now with you.
Miss VIP. Magnetic perfumes. Dream.
You don't know what is going on. Well, soup. Yeah, give her 200.
Boss, new car.
Yeah, eventually.
Charlie, I for change my car oil. Ask Kofi. Kofi, take my car to shore to have an oil change.
Boss, no problem. I don't know about it.
Now you know. Every time you shop, fill up or service your car at Shell, you earn points to collect happiness.
Yeah, my boss, you two want to change your oil?
Ask your Shell attendant about the Shell Club. Shell Club, get more.
Enjoy your deliciously rich and creamy Richoco, made from the finest Ghanaian cocoa, milk and sugar.
Yummy.
Richoco, made from the finest Ghanaian cocoa. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
My cousin told me how fantastic bio oil was, so I gave it a go for the stretch marks on my hips from losing weight. And now I can't stop telling everyone about it.
This Tuesday at KFC,
Stop.
get 5 pieces of chicken.
Stop it.
For only 25 cents.
It's been looking good. Frutally, all natural fruit juice. It's so good. Please drink shrimp.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Sports News segment is brought to you by
Airtel Tigo, Sasso insecticide spray and coil,
Cowbell, Barclays, part of the Absa family.
Well, hello, good evening. It's time for sports here on News 360. My name is Yao Ofusulabi. Now, Ghana coach Kwesi Appiah has called on the Black Stars to put smiles on the faces of Ghanaians after the warm reception they received while on the journey to Cape Coast. Now, the Stars opened their 2021 qualifying series against South Africa on Thursday night, and the Stars are poised to start on the perfect note.
We had
a lot of support in Accra, and on our way, we did stop at Winneba Junction and Magazine, and we appreciate the support that Ghanaians give to the team. I'm 100% sure we cannot do anything without the support from every Ghanaian, and so far what we've shown and what we've seen in Lagos here, we're really happy and we appreciate it. We hope that the same support will be with the team tomorrow. I'm 100% sure we are also here and we'll make sure we make our nation proud. It's not going to be an easy game. If we all know South Africa is strong at the end of it, we make our nation proud and every supporter proud and happy.
Also, the Black Stars play later tomorrow at 7 p.m. But let's just check out the results there from the 2021 AFCON qualifiers that are taking place across the continent this time around. And Malawi took on South Sudan at 1 p.m. earlier today. They beat them by 1-0. Central African Republic also defeated Burundi by 2-0. Now the Central African Republic have Geoffrey Kondogbia in there, the man who played in the youth teams for France, has opted to play for the Central African Republic, and they seem to be doing well these days. Nigeria also beating Benin by 2-1 in there. Namibia also beating Chad by 2-1. Cameroon drawing 0-0 with Cape Verde. That's a result that many people did not expect. But Guinea-Bissau also defeating Eswatini, the erstwhile Swaziland, by 3-0. And Sierra Leone also defeating Lesotho by drawing against Lesotho in that game 1-1. Now at 7 p.m. Tonight, the games that will be played are Burkina Faso taking on Uganda, Sudan facing Sao Tome, and Angola taking on the Gambia, and Senegal will also face Congo. Those games will be played tonight. But let's move away now to some more stories. And Manchester City's Bernardo Silva has been banned for one match and fined £50,000 after the FA Commission accepted he did not intend to tweet about teammate Benjamin Mendy to be racist. Now, Silva compared Mendy to the character on the pockets of Congritos, a chocolate brand available in Spain and Portugal. Now, Silva deleted the post 46 minutes after he published it before tweeting, "Can't even joke with a friend these days." Now, the FA report said many persons would have taken offense to the content. Well, now some good news for former Arsenal manager, that's Arsene Wenger, because he's returning to football after he agreed to become FIFA's new chief of global football development. Now the move ends speculation linking the Frenchman, who's 70 years old, with a return to management as Bayern Munich boss. Now Wenger left the Gunners in May 2018 after 22 years in charge, with 3 Premier League titles and 7 FA Cups. Well, that's all the sports news this evening here on News 360. My name is Yao Ofosulabi. Tomorrow morning, we'll be back on New Day with some more sports. But after the break, international news and entertainment to follow.
George be one lucky big boy. In week start just like any other, with football everywhere. It is speaker now, stadium. Even break them down 1-1. Charlie, them bet on it. George in week start just like any other, and this be how he end.
They call me Kwame Short. I don't like long things at all. That's why I signed up for the Cowbank Snap account. As a Cowbank agent, it's easy to open and perform transactions just like this. Jack, let's say, Cowbank Agents Banking is the new biometric banking channel that allows any customer of Cowbank to make transactions at their convenience. You can open a Cowbank Snap account, make cash deposits and withdrawal, transfer funds, pay your bills, and also buy airtime in 3 easy steps. First, Select your transaction, then provide your details, and finally confirm your transaction with your fingerprint. It's that convenient and secure. Always remember to take your receipt and look out for an SMS after your transaction before walking away. You can find Cowbank agents everywhere. Shops, general merchants, pharmacies, mobile money agents, and supermarkets.
Cowbank Agent Banking, your neighborhood bank. Forward together.
Hala! Wow! Sweetheart, my appreciation for fixing the insecticide mosquito net. It's saving us money from hospital and medical bills.
I'm glad. Now you know the benefit of sleeping under insecticide mosquito net every night through the night. This is the way you can prevent yourself from malaria. You say, oh, Oshibadi, you are always listening to your friends.
Don't worry at all. I've started telling them about the benefits. Very soon, they will be coming into our house to say thank you to us.
First, dry it in the shade 48 hours or more. If it's dirty, you can use mild soap to wash it gentle. If it's torn, you can sew it. Don't give mosquito chance.
And there is a bonus
Wow.
after this.
Man, this is what you get when you care for your family.
Let's come together and drive malaria away for good life. This advert is brought to you by the Ministry of Health and Ghana Health Service.
The Gillette Blue Chew has a water-activated Lubristrip, giving you a clean shave. With fewer nicks and cuts. Upgrade to Gillette Blue Chew. Gillette, the best a man can get.
What is beauty? Is it full, dark shining hair and radiant skin? Is it 50 shades of melanin perfect? Is it a stylish aura or an alluring glow? Is it a cute and irresistible charm? Beauty is whatever you make it to be. So, rule your beauty with Gandu Cosmetics. Gandu Cosmetics. Rule your beauty.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Welcome back. On the international front, historic impeachment hearings targeting U.S. President Donald Trump opened today in Washington, D.C. Key lawmakers have been offering sharply contradictory views whether Trump abused his office to help himself politically. The leader of the Democratic effort to impeach Trump, Congressman Adam Schiff, accused the president in his opening statement of pressurizing Ukraine to open an investigation of one of his chief 2020 Democratic challengers, former Vice President Joe Biden, before Trump would release $391 million in U.S. military aid. But a staunch Trump defender, Republican Congressman David Nunes, also called the hearings, quote, televised theatrical performance, unquote, and unquote, impeachment process in search of a crime, unquote. There's more international news on 3news.com. We're back shortly after this with entertainment news.
Introducing Cerelac Biscuity, the new baby cereal from Cerelac, with a great new biscuity taste that babies absolutely love. And of course, it's fortified with iron to support babies' healthy growth, just like all the other nutritious Cerelac flavors. Cerelac, big nutrition for small tummies.
Do you need stage of all sizes, lighting and effects, pipe and drapes, PA or sound, camera equipment and grip, LED screens, pit barriers and fences, power units and more? For small, medium and large venues, concerts, parties, product launches, corporate events, exhibitions, TV and documentary productions, awards and fashion shows, conferences and more. Call us on 0244 250 197 or 0233 991 126 or visit www.eeghana.com. EE Ghana, your one-stop shop for all events and equipment.
The same Voltic you've known for 20 years is changing with you. We're putting a twist on the new 500 ml bottle. Friendly for the environment with 7% less plastic. Enjoy Twist Recycle. This advertisement has been written and approved by the FDA.
This is Itel S15. The amazing forward. You don't believe me? Check this out. Get your S15 now. You're the best service in me.
Ma, I'm for phone in your quick call and sawako.
Hey, it would have sukuta sound network way. I'm more credit in the data fiano. Oh, Nick Shin, you don't know what so. What is a Vodafone? A double red 1, red 2, and red 5 offers. Ah, yeah, double into swap up baby. Na 5 cities zenny dear. Jai. Uber Casa 250 minutes. Na data no. And also 250 megabytes. I hear na benya way. I guess a hand one.
Hey, mommy. And I said, me finish your call quick na call.
Hey, Apostle. Ube Jane, and yes, sir, Ube Bressa.
Switch to Vodafone and enjoy double into swap on red bundles of 1, 2, and 5 CDs. Enjoy double talk minutes to call all networks and double data to browse. Vodafone always gives you more. Terms and conditions apply.
Vodafone double into swap, the guy.
Our future is exciting. Ready?